Does your steering wheel do this? Listen to that knock. Well, it's all due to this little part right here. This little $5 plastic part wears out and looks like this, and then gives you that steering clunk. I'm going to show you how to diagnose it, and then I'm going to show you how to fix it. It'll take only a couple hours of your time. Alright, let me show you a couple tricks here to diagnose this. What you can notice is in the vehicle with the engine running, if you just move it a little bit, it will not make that knock noise and the steering wheel feels nice and tight. It does not make the knock noise until you go just a little bit more, and that is when the electric motor is kicking in and making it clunk right here. What this tells you is that the noise is relative to the activation of the electric steering motor. I'm going to show you one more test now to confirm that the linkage is tight all the way out to the tire, because this noise does kind of mimic a loose inner tie rod, and we want to be sure that's not the problem. What I want to show you here is that I'm just going to turn it enough to make it do it. It's hard to pick up on the video, but you can see it in real life. The tire is moving. So what you can actually do, and this works, you can do the driver's side with one person. Put your knee against it like that, and then flick the steering wheel like that, just enough to make the noise. And you should be able to hear and feel it through your knee. If you can feel it knocking through your knee, that means that the linkage is tight all the way from the noise to the wheel. And now you do that on both sides, which I did. Both of them are very tight. So it's definitely just where the electric motor is sitting in there and activating and whacking back and forth on the teeth right there. And I'm going to show you how to get to it. Alright, here under the dashboard, there is one screw holding this on. It is right there, a regular Phillips screw. Alright, this whole right hand side just pops out with push pins. When you push a little on this, you'll see this will come out. You need to go and pull this out, which is also just push pins. And then you actually have two more screws here on the side, which I'm going to go ahead and take those out with two hands. There's the other one. Once you take those two screws out, this whole thing falls down. Be careful with your OBD port right here. There are kind of squeeze clips on the side. You can squeeze them, take that out, so you can move the whole panel to the side. Now you can kind of get back in there. Now this is actually the mechanism right here. I'm still going to get you a better shot in just a moment, but it's in there. That piece up in there is the motor, and that's what we have to take off. Since we are working with the electronics right behind the fuse panel, and we may need to unplug some things, make sure you disconnect the negative battery cable. Alright, so what we want to do is take off as little as possible. So I'm going to remove this piece right here, which is bolt here, bolt there, so bolts on this side, and then that will come out. And then I'm also going to take apart this trim that's around the steering wheel. That way I can get this out of the way, and then we'll be able to see in there really well. As you may have expected, these are the elusive 10mm. Interestingly enough, you have to turn the wheel in order to get to this. So turn the wheel, get this screw out of here, and there's one on the other side as well. Oh, use the key. Oh, actually I don't have to use the key. It moved over just enough. It's a little trickier with one hand. Last screw right here in the bottom underneath the steering wheel. Now this cover, you see has a seam right there. You can push up from here or push up from the other side. And you do have to yank at it a little bit, but it does pop off. So go ahead and pull this out. That has a fabric piece which is attached in behind it, so don't try to pull the whole thing off. I'm going to bring the bottom out, which is what I actually need out anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and use 2 hands for that. Now that the bottom plastic cover is off, we can get in here and I'm going to show you what exactly is making the issue. Alright, so this is where your steering shaft comes in from the steering wheel. And this then passes through this and goes down to the rack. Now the electric power steering motor is right there. And so that is actually where the interface is that bushing actually wears out in. And now in order to get to that, we have to take the motor off. And if you look right there, right in the center of the screen, there is a black screw right on the other side of that has a Torx head. That's what we need to take off. There's 3 of those around the perimeter of the motor. It is a pain to get to, but we can get to them. I'm going to take those out, and then I'll be able to show you exactly what the failure is. I am laying upside down. I'm laying upside down in the car underneath the dash. And this right here, this is the mechanism that it pivots on. The steering wheel pivots on. So if you take this off, this bolt right here, the entire steering column will drop down a little bit, which will give you a little bit more room to work on it. And this is a 14 millimeter. Looks just like that. And you can find it by moving the steering wheel up and down a little bit, and you can see that is in fact the pivot point. So we'll go ahead and take that out and use 2 hands since I'm upside down. So that bolt is out. It looks like this. Note it does have a washer and a lock washer, so don't lose that. You also need to take apart this right here, which is a 12 millimeter on these Elantras. Be very careful when you take this piece off. It does have several washers and a little bearing washer and a little spring in there that have to be reassembled in the same direction. The bolt that goes in the adjuster looks like this. Note it does have some thread locker on it, so you want to put that back so it doesn't loosen up. Now the whole column has dropped down a bit. I do want to point out, to get it to drop down as good as possible, you need to take out this connector right here. And there are also 2 connectors right there on the side of this bottom box right there, and then a little skinny one that goes in right there. You want to drop out, that way the wires give you enough play to get in here. Guys, make sure you hit the like button on this video and leave a comment down below. That helps this be the first video people see when they have this problem and they're trying to figure it out. And I try to make all the steps that you need to do completely in the video. Alright, so T27, I'll get in here and get this. This is the first of 3. There's 3 of them. I'm going to go ahead and take those off. It's going to take 2 hands, so I'm going to do it off camera. Alright, I just pulled off the 3rd little brown screw. It looks just like this. T27. Again, there's 3 of them, so this is the motor. We'll go ahead and pull it off. You should see a bunch of black plastic crap all over it. There we go. And that is it. And you see that little black plastic piece actually goes in there in between all these things. The metal, in between the metal from the motor and the metal from the rack, and softens the movement between the 2. So I want to show you, I want to get this all cleaned up. I want to grab a vacuum and vacuum it out real fast, and then I want to show you the piece going back in. Rubber thing is still there. I'm trying to get you a good angle for taking it off. But you kind of have to pry it. There you go. And that is what the bad one looks like. just giving you a little shot of how it looks after it wears out like that. And that's the way it's supposed to look. You see all the little teeth that cushion the gear wear off in there. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in. Before I do that, I just wanted to show you this little wrapper right here. I got this on Amazon. I think it was $6 or $7. They come in packs of 10 for the OEM part. And so you'll find people that buy the packs of 10, split them into ones and sell the ones. That's why it's in this generic packaging. But there is no up or down on this thing. You just put it in, so it doesn't matter which way is up. I'll show you how to do that. It's kind of snug, so you have to push it hard. But that's it. It just goes in there, and you can see the metal and how it fits in between those teeth. And now when I put the motor back on, the motor will fit between the 4 remaining open spaces that you can see. See that? I got a little bit more plastic to dig out of there before I put it back together. Now, just to alleviate any concerns you have about lining the teeth up, when you set the motor in, you can then take your hand on it and just put a little bit of pressure and twist back and forth, and you'll feel it. It'll wiggle right down in there, all the way tight. And it can't be all the way tight at rest without being in there. So that part's very simple. All right, this 2012 Elantra is back together. Please, please, please like and comment. That will put this at the top of the results for anyone else who searches it. That way they can find a video that works. This particular vehicle is a 2012 Elantra, but it works on a very, very large swath of Hyundai cars with the electric steering. They all have that same little coupling down there and the same little motor set up underneath the dash. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.